Here's a dangerous promise. If you let these words sink deeper than your mind, into your chest, into your breath, into your pulse, subtle reality will tilt in your favor within the next 48 hours, not in months, not in years. In 2 rotations of the sun, doors will open, people will appear, and solutions will rise. Not coincidence, coherence. You already know the feeling. That day when traffic lights all seem to shift at once for you. That call that came the moment you gave up waiting. That stranger who appeared with exactly what you needed. You wrote it off as luck. But what if it wasn't luck at all? What if those were glimpses of a frequency that obeys no delay? A living pattern that doesn't negotiate with time, but rewrites it. In this video, I'm going to hand you the sequence. 3 simple but radical steps that flip your nervous system from seeking to summoning. Once you embody it, reality won't trickle in. It will rearrange around you. Stay here, because what you're about to discover is the difference between wishing and witnessing. Most people chase results on the surface of life. They try harder, push harder, speak louder, yet wonder why the universe still feels silent. The truth is, the field it responds to vibration, and vibration doesn't come from words. It comes from your state. Think about it. You can say, "I am ready," 1,000 times. But if your body is tense, your shoulders heavy, and your breath shallow, what is the field really reading? Not the sentence. It's reading contraction. And contraction broadcast. That's why so many people wait months, years, even lifetimes for change that could arrive in hours. But there is a hidden mechanism, a switch in the nervous system that shifts you from wanting to being. When you flip it, your heart and brain stop working against each other and begin to move in rhythm. That rhythm is the key. It is the frequency that reorganizes matter, time, and circumstance into harmony with your intention. You've touched it before in fleeting moments. A sunrise that made you forget your problems. A deep breath that melted all resistance. A sudden calm in the middle of chaos when you just knew everything would work out. Those weren't accidents. They were alignments. And once you understand how to lock into that alignment on purpose, you'll never confuse luck with mastery again. The most powerful evidence is not out there. It's inside you. Every time your pulse slows, every time your breath deepens, every time your thoughts soften into stillness, you are already proving that reality can reorganize itself in real time. You've seen how quickly your body responds to a single thought. Imagine biting into a sour lemon. Instantly, your mouth waters. No lemon, no juice, just thought. If thought alone can change chemistry in seconds, what do you think coherence can do to the field around you? This is why the masters of every tradition spoke about alignment instead of effort. They knew that when you stabilize in the right frequency, outcomes stop being delayed. They start obeying. It isn't about force. It isn't about trying. It's about remembering. Remembering that the field bends fastest not to ambition, but to embodiment. And here's where most seekers miss it. They try to think their way into miracles, but thought is only one layer. The real shift happens when breath, heart, and mind lock into one rhythm. That rhythm becomes a signal. That signal is recognized instantly by the field. And once it's recognized, the countdown begins. Within hours, synchronicity shows up as proof. There comes a moment when reality stops resisting you and begins listening to you. You've felt it before. The room grows quiet when you enter. A conversation shifts because of one sentence you speak. People sense something they can't explain, and suddenly, everything feels aligned. That isn't charisma. It isn't chance. It's coherence. It's what happens when your frequency stops leaking through fear, doubt, and tension, and instead locks into stability. The universe cannot ignore stability. Stability bends, probably throw a rock into it, and ripples scatter in every direction. That is most people, fragmented signals, scattered energy, delayed results. Now imagine still water, perfectly calm. Drop a single stone, and the ripples move in clean, flawless circles. That is coherence. That is you when your heart, breath, when you hold that state, even for a few minutes, reality begins to bend. Traffic lights shift. Calls arrive at perfect timing. The opportunity that was invisible yesterday suddenly appears in front of you. This is not magic. This is mechanics. The field is coded to respond to coherence immediately. The first step is recognition. You cannot master what you do not notice. And the truth is, this frequency has already visited you many times. A quiet walk when the air itself felt alive. A moment of prayer when peace filled you so completely that fear vanished. A dream so vivid it carried guidance you could not ignore. These are not random, they are signals, invitations, proof that the field is already whispering to you, waiting for you to pay attention. Recognition is about catching those moments instead of dismissing them. It's about realizing this isn't coincidence. This is coherence. When you begin to recognize, something shifts immediately. Synchronicities multiply. Dreams become sharper. People around you sense a new presence in you, even if they can't name it. This first phase often lasts days or weeks, but once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Reality becomes more responsive, more intimate, more alive. And here is the secret. The more you acknowledge these moments, the stronger they become. Recognition feeds coherence. Coherence feeds, and the loop begins. That is the first key to unlocking proof within 48 hours. The second step is synchronization. Recognition opens the door, but synchronization allows you to stay inside. This is where the heart and the brain stop acting like strangers and begin to move as one. Your heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field in your body. It radiates far beyond your skin, touching everything around you. Your brain, on the other hand, interprets, analyzes, and directs. When these two are out of sync, you feel divided, thinking one thing, feeling another. And the field reflects that division back to you as delay, confusion, or resistance. But when the heart and brain synchronize, something extraordinary happens. Your thoughts stop arguing with your emotions. Your breath finds its natural rhythm. Your body begins to release tension you didn't even realize you carried. In that moment, your signal becomes clean, pure, undeniable. Science calls this heart-brain coherence. Ancient traditions called it harmony with the divine order. Whatever name you give it, the effect is the same. Reality listens differently. Doors don't just open. They open at the exact moment you arrive. People don't just help. They feel compelled to help. What you once struggled for starts to flow without resistance. This is the second phase of activation, and once you experience it, even for 17 minutes, your body begins to recognize it as the new baseline. Not a rare state, a normal one. The third step is embodiment. Recognition wakes you up, Synchronization steadies you, but embodiment transforms you. This is where the frequency no longer visits for moments. It lives in you permanently. Embodiment is when your nervous system rewires itself to operate from coherence as the default. It's not a meditation you practice for 20 minutes and then forget. It's the way you breathe when you wake up, the way you walk into a room, the way your presence shifts the air before you even speak. At this stage, life stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something that happens through you. The universe bends not because you forced it, but because you finally remembered your original design, to be in harmony with the field that creates worlds. This is why masters across every tradition radiated such peace. Their embodiment was unmistakable. People felt it before they heard a word. And here's the truth. That same embodiment is available to you right now. It does not belong to saints of the past. It belongs to every soul who chooses to live aligned instead of scattered. When you reach embodiment, the proof multiplies. Strangers treat you differently. Circumstances move with precision. Synchronicities stack on top of each other until doubt collapses. You realize that what once felt impossible is now inevitable, because your frequency no longer negotiates, it commands. When embodiment takes root, the world begins to respond in ways that logic cannot explain. A man once told me that after a single session of aligning his breath and heart rhythm, he walked into his office and every conversation felt different. Colleagues who usually ignored him started asking for his opinion. Meetings that normally drained him suddenly flowed with solutions. Nothing external changed, but his frequency did, and reality adjusted instantly. Another woman shared how she struggled for months to find work. She tried every strategy, every application, every trick she could think of. Nothing worked. But when she learned to rest her awareness in coherence, something shifted. Within 48 hours, a job offer appeared, one she hadn't even applied for. The employer said, "We felt your energy was right, so we reached out." That is embodiment. That is the field bending. Even nature responds. Animals draw near without fear. Technology glitches resolve themselves. Doors swing open at the exact second you reach. These aren't fairy tales. They're patterns. Patterns that repeat for anyone who learns the sequence: recognition, synchronization, embodiment. And here is the astonishing part. Once this frequency stabilizes in you, it doesn't just change your life. It begins to shift the lives of those around you. Your coherence becomes contagious. People leave conversations with you feeling lighter. Strangers walk away, feeling hope they didn't know they carried. This is not influence in the ordinary sense. This is resonance, and resonance ripples outward faster than any word can travel. When you embody the frequency, you stop searching for signs. Life doesn't sprinkle you with random luck. It aligns itself around you with precision. People feel drawn to you without knowing why. The right words slip into your mouth at the perfect time. Even silence becomes powerful, because your presence alone carries the signal. You become a walking synchronicity. Every step you take begins to create invisible bridges between people, between opportunities, between possibilities that were once out of reach. You are no longer waiting for life to deliver proof. You are the proof. Think about it. Every time you felt deeply aligned, didn't the world seem to rearrange itself in your favor? That was a glimpse of your natural state. Embodiment simply makes it consistent. And once it becomes consistent, doubt no longer has a place to live in you. This is why ancient teachers described awakened beings as living mirrors. Just standing near them was enough to awaken the same frequency in others, not because of what they taught, but because of what they radiated. And that same capacity exists in you. The moment you stabilize, you don't just change your timeline, you shift the timeline of everyone who enters your field. Most people believe alignment means a life without obstacles. But embodiment reveals the opposite. Challenges still appear, but they arrive with a different purpose. They are no longer barriers, they are signals. Each one is a mirror, showing you where your frequency is ready to expand. Think about fear. When you operate from contraction, fear feels like a wall. It freezes you, keeps you from moving. But when you operate from coherence, fear transforms. It becomes excitement. The same energy that once held you back becomes the very energy that propels you forward. The same is true for disappointment. In the old state, it meant failure. In embodiment, it becomes redirection. A closed door no longer feels like rejection. It feels like the field is whispering, "Not here, not yet. This way instead." Even anger dissolves differently. Instead of boiling inside, it melts into clarity. You no longer react from pain. You respond from power. Every emotion becomes a resource. Every obstacle becomes a teacher. Every setback becomes a doorway disguised as resistance. This is the true mark of embodiment. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this unlocking in me?" That single shift transforms struggle into fuel, and suddenly, nothing can steal your alignment. When you stabilize in this frequency, people experience you differently. It isn't about what you say, it's about the signal you carry. Conversations shift tone. Arguments dissolve faster. Even people who once resisted you begin softening in your presence. They aren't responding to your words. They're responding to your state. Opportunities also begin to show a new rhythm. What used to take endless planning arrives with precision. The meeting you thought you had to chase finds its way to you. The connection you once called impossible introduces itself without effort. This is the field responding not to desperation, but to coherence. And here's the part most people miss. Relationships don't just change because others evolve. They change because you stop pulling them from need. Embodiment removes the energy of lack. You no longer enter a room wanting validation, approval, or attention. You enter full, complete whole. And the field reflects that wholeness back to you in every interaction. This is why aligned people feel magnetic. It's not mystery. It's not manipulation. It's resonance. When you are no longer searching for proof outside yourself, everything outside rushes in to confirm what you already carry. That's the point where life stops feeling random and starts feeling orchestrated. Embodiment doesn't only transform your personal relationships, it transforms entire environments. Walk into a room holding coherence, and the atmosphere shifts before a single word. The tension that others were carrying begins to dissolve. Conversations move with more ease. People feel safer, lighter, more open, without ever knowing why. This is the silent power of resonance. It is not about forcing change. It is about radiating a signal so stable that everything around you organizes to match it. Just as tuning forks align when one vibrates strongly, People align when coherence enters the space. You may notice it in small ways at first. The restless child suddenly becomes calm when you sit nearby. The stressed colleague relaxes in your presence. A group locked in conflict begins to find common ground. These are not accidents. They are ripples of your frequency, extending far beyond your body. Over time, this influence expands. Homes begin to feel more peaceful. Workspaces feel more creative. Communities gather in harmony instead of division. What once felt heavy becomes light, not because you demanded it, but because you anchored coherence so deeply that the field itself responded. And the more you stabilize this frequency, the less effort is required. You no longer try to change the room. You simply enter as yourself, and the room cannot help but change. One of the most mysterious effects of embodiment is the way time itself begins to bend. In the old state, time feels rigid. You wait, you chase, you struggle with deadlines. Hours drag when you're restless, and opportunities feel forever out of reach. But when coherence stabilizes, time responds differently. Hours collapse when you need speed. The right person arrives at the exact second you step into place. The right opportunity surfaces at the exact moment you release resistance. It feels less like you are moving through time, and more like time is moving through you. Think about the times you've been in flow. Creativity pours effortlessly. Minutes vanish and suddenly that is a small glimpse of how reality behaves when coherence anchors in your body. In embodiment, this flow is no longer occasional. It becomes your normal state. This is why synchronicity multiplies, because the field is no longer trying to catch up with your scattered signal. It is moving with you in rhythm, in harmony. Appointments align. Doors open at the precise moment you arrive. The right words appear on your tongue without rehearsal. You realize that timing was never your enemy. It was always your mirror. When you stabilize, time bends. And when time bends, proof becomes undeniable. Up until now, you've been listening. You've been feeling the truth of these words rise somewhere inside you. But embodiment doesn't begin with listening. It begins with choosing. And in this moment, you are being asked to choose. The field is alive. It is reading your state right now. It does not respond to hope. It does not respond to doubt. It responds to a decision made not just with thought, but with your entire being. The breath you take, the rhythm of your heart, the posture of your body, the signal you send. So take a breath deep and steady. Let your shoulders drop. Let your chest open. With that single shift, you have already changed your signal. This is where activation begins, and here is the proof. Over the next 48 hours, watch closely. Synchronicities will appear. Small at first, then unmistakable. The right words, the perfect timing, the effortless opening. This is not random. This is response. The field is answering your signal. If you're ready to anchor this fully, then make your commitment visible. Subscribe, because every teaching that follows is designed to keep you aligned. Comment the word quantum below, because that single word becomes your declaration to the field. I choose coherence over chaos. I choose alignment over delay. I choose embodiment over waiting. This is your proof. This is your beginning, and from this moment on, your frequency is no longer a question. It is a command. To anchor this frequency permanently, you need more than inspiration. You need practice. A simple ritual that locks the state of coherence into your body until it becomes second nature. And the truth is, this ritual takes minutes, not hours. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 5. Hold gently for a moment. Then exhale through your mouth for a count of 7. This longer release signals safety to your nervous system. Safety unlocks coherence. Next, shift your focus to the heart. Imagine breathing directly through your chest. As you inhale, feel gratitude rising. Not forced gratitude, but something real, something simple. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of a loved one's voice. The fact that you are alive right now, listening to this message. Let gratitude fill the space behind your ribs. Finally, bring in intention, not with desperation, not with begging. Imagine the outcome already alive inside you. Not far away. Not one day, now. Let your body carry the signal of already. Walk like it, breathe like it, speak like it. This is embodiment in action. Even 10 minutes of this practice can shift your state so powerfully that the field begins answering within hours. And when you repeat it daily, what you practice with your body, your brain rewires to believe. This is not theory. It is physiology. Every time you breathe in coherence, every time you flood your heart with gratitude, your nervous system begins to lay new tracks. The amygdala, the small almond-shaped center of fear, starts to quiet. It no longer dominates your choices. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for clarity, focus, and decision, making lights up. New neural pathways form. Pathways that support calm under pressure, certainty in the unknown, and vision beyond limitation. Your heart field expands. Science has shown it radiates up to several feet beyond your body, but in coherence, it expands even further, touching the people and environments around you. You literally become a transmitter. Others feel it before they understand it. And at the cellular level, something remarkable occurs. Your DNA responds to this state by expressing differently. Stress healing and renewal genes switch on. Your body becomes more resilient, your mind more focused, your emotions more stable. This is the biology of alignment. The more you repeat the ritual, the stronger these changes become. At first, it feels like practice. Then, it becomes habit. And eventually, it becomes identity. The body, it remembers coherence. It remembers alignment. It remembers the proof. When coherence becomes your baseline, the shift doesn't stay hidden inside your body. It spills into every area of life. Money begins to flow differently, not because you chase it harder, but because opportunities align with your presence. Conversations about resources feel lighter, negotiations feel smoother, and unexpected channels of health follows the same pattern. Stress no longer drains you the way it once did. Your sleep deepens. Your energy stabilizes. The body, no longer caught in the loop of fear, begins to heal. You notice aches fading, recovery quickening, vitality returning. This isn't wishful thinking. It is biology responding to frequency. Relationships transform as well. When you radiate wholeness, people no longer feel burdened by your need. They feel uplifted by your energy. Connections grow deeper. Old conflicts lose their grip. You begin to attract people who mirror your alignment, while those who resist it quietly drift away. And then there is timing, the invisible thread weaving it all together. Suddenly, you arrive at the right place without effort. You speak the right words without planning. The door that once felt locked swings open as if it had. Everyday life begins to look less like struggle and more like choreography. Every step, every encounter, every choice feels guided. This is not fantasy. This is coherence at work. And once you taste it, you realize this is how life was always meant to be lived. At first, coherence shows itself in small ways. A text message at just a parking space opening exactly where you need it. A stranger offering help before you even ask. These are the whispers of alignment. But as you stabilize, the whispers turn into echoes. Louder, clearer, impossible to ignore. Entire chains of events begin to unfold with precision. One introduction leads to another, which leads to a breakthrough you couldn't have planned. An obstacle dissolves the moment you stop resisting. A long-awaited opportunity arrives without effort. This is the point where doubt collapses. The field no longer feels like theory. It feels like participation. You are no longer a spectator of life. You are a co-creator. Every synchronicity is a mirror, reflecting your frequency back to you with perfect accuracy. And the more you embody it, the more undeniable the proof becomes. The frequency you are touching now is not new. It is ancient. It is the same current that carried prophets, sages, and masters into states of clarity. It is the inheritance of every soul, a remembrance of how reality bends when alignment is embodied. You were never meant to struggle endlessly for outcomes. You were never meant to live at the mercy of delay, fear, or chaos. You were designed to embody coherence, to walk as proof that the universe is not random. It is responsive. And when you anchor this truth, your life stops being about survival. It becomes about expression, about contribution, about becoming a living bridge for others to remember their own inheritance. You become the proof that inspires proof. This is the deeper purpose of your awakening. Not just to change your life, but to ripple change into the lives of many. Now the choice is yours. You can close this video and return to waiting, or you can claim your proof within the next 48 hours. The field is already listening. It is already reading your signal. The only question, if you are ready, make your declaration now. Subscribe to this channel so you don't lose the path of coherence. Comment the word quantum below, not as a routine, but as an activation. Each letter you type is a signal, an electromagnetic imprint telling the field. I choose alignment. I choose embodiment. I choose proof. And then pay attention. Over the next 2 days, synchronicities will rise to meet you. Signs will multiply. Reality will bend. This is not chance. This is your frequency answering. This is your inheritance returning. You are not here to hope. You are here to witness. You are here to embody. You are here to prove. And the proof begins now.